Spend less time in the laundry room and more time doing the things you love. Introducing the Samsung Smart Top Load Laundry Pair, now available at Lowe's. The washer's large capacity means you can fit more in every load. Plus, its super speed setting washes a full load in only 28 minutes. Shop the smart washer that will streamline laundry day, backed by Lowe's Price Promise. Based on using super speed on a normal cycle with an 8-pound load. Terms apply. See Lowe's.com/price promise for details. U.S. only.
Hello, this is Julian Breeding of Bellingham Ford with some very exciting news. We have just expanded our service hours to cover all of your service needs. We are now open from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. 6 days a week. That's right, Monday through Saturday for all of your service needs. No appointment necessary for oil change, brakes, or battery replacement. And remember, we have a 12-month, 12,000-mile warranty on all of the work performed at Bellingham Ford. To make life easier, visit BellinghamFord.com and use our new online scheduler to book your appointment. We look forward to servicing you soon.
Hey, this is BJ. Thanks for listening to our show's podcast. If you're a fan of all things geeky, you should check out my other podcast, BJ Shea's Geek Nation. We have new episodes every day, and you can check it out at bjgeeknation.com.
Your driver's license is important so you can get back and forth to work, get your kids to school, and back and forth to daycare. If your license has been suspended because you can't pay your tickets, you can't do any of those things. Let's talk about Chapter 13 bankruptcy. You may have heard the tickets cannot be discharged, but they can be dealt with in a Chapter 13 case. Why not come in for a free consultation? The chapter you choose will make all the difference to your getting back, legally, on the road. Let's design a plan to pay off your tickets and restore your license immediately. I'm attorney Travis Gagne. Please contact me today at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com.
99.9 KISW, The Rock of Seattle. Wolfgang Van Halen released a musical tribute to his dad yesterday. Yep. It's his debut single. It's called Distance, which he called an open letter to Eddie Van Halen. And the video is old movies of Eddie being a pretty amazing dad to Wolfgang.
It's a tough watch if, obviously we're all still mourning the loss of Eddie Van Halen. Then you see this, it's really cool, but it's also like, oh man, it's tough to see like some of the videos because it's heartbreaking.
Yeah,
but it's awesome. It's such a great tribute to his father.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's nice to see. That's the one thing you just don't know. A lot of times when you have celebrities and performers, the children sometimes will tell you they didn't have a great life because the parent was never there. But that didn't seem to be the case with Wolfie and Eddie.
No, it seems like the exact opposite. Like they were very, very much together all the time.
Here's a clip from the song Distance from Wolfgang.
I'm still crying.
Distances, I will be with you. No matter what the distance is, I will be with you. No matter what the distance is, I will be with you. No matter what the distance is, you'll be okay. No matter what the distance is, I will be with you.
So he could sing too.
Yeah,
this kid, man.
Well, he comes from good stock. I mean, both of his parents were performers and talented.
His uncle, he's okay behind the kit. I mean, I guess the group he calls it Mammoth WVH. So Wolfgang Van Halen, obviously WVH, and I didn't realize this, but Van Halen originally was called Mammoth, and so it's a tribute to Van Halen by calling his group that. Very 90s alt rock vibe to that song.
Yes. Well, I hope that would be fun if he got to have a career, and that people liked his music and he got to make more. That would be awesome. The song ends with a voicemail that Eddie left for Wolfie, where he tells him that he loves the song.
I'm just so happy to have you as my son, man. So proud of you. I love you so much. Call me if you get a chance. Just want to hear your voice. Okay? I love you. Bye.
Damn, that's how he ends this. That's how he ends the song.
That's a great tribute. And someone even said the song made #1 yesterday.
Oh,
yeah, I know. I saw everybody was sharing the video.
That's awesome.
The video is just blown up on YouTube. It's already got over 1 million views. It just got released yesterday.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
I mean I have yet to see it myself. I'm gonna have to check that out.
You might want to watch it when you're not around people.
Yeah,
unless you
that's
or maybe cut some onions while watching it so you can blame it on something else.
Yeah. That's I could use a good emotional release, to be honest with you, and I think that's a good thing to do. It's definitely a positive one.
And proceeds from the song are he's donating them to his father's favorite charity, which is Mr. Holland's Opus Foundation.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a real guy. I mean, they did a movie about it, but I think Mr. Holland was a real guy.
It had to have been.
Yeah.
That'd be weird. They made a charity just on that.
Well, Richard Dreyfuss did a movie called Mr. Holland's Opus, so I'm thinking it was based on a real guy.
Yeah, it's he was the composer for the motion picture Mr. Holland's Opus. I guess this is what so maybe it wasn't a real guy. I don't know.
Oh.
But it helps music programs across the country.
Oh, so they made it after the movie, I guess. Okay, well, that's cool. Either way, it's a nice thing.
It's a nice thing.
Yeah. Wolfgang was also on Howard.
It was based on a true story of a composer and a reluctant music teacher, Glenn Holland.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a real thing, but it's been a long time since I saw the movie.
I've never seen that movie.
Yeah, it's good. It's a true story, and Richard Dreyfuss does what Richard Dreyfuss does. And
a glowing review.
Yeah, well, because he's an old actor and an old guy. It's like Richard Dreyfuss was the guy in the 70s and 80s. Everybody he was a real popular actor, but nobody cares now. So Wolfgang was on Howard Stern yesterday, and Wolfie said there were talks to do a massive Van Halen reunion. This, when I say massive, because it would have brought back everybody, David Lee Roth, Sammy Hagar, Michael Anthony, and even Gary Cherone. So this was as big as it could get.
Since 2015, I had been talking with Dad. So I would be like, hey, Dad, what would be cool is what if I opened for you guys and we had Mike come back? Initially, my dad was like, well, you got to be up there too. And eventually I was like, okay, well, maybe I can come up and we can play, one or two songs from A Different Kind of Truth. But as time went on, he warmed up to the idea. I got him excited about it. And at a certain point, it turned into what we joked as the kitchen sink tour. Let's get Dave and Hagar and even Cherone, and let's just do a giant, awesome thing. And we talked to Irving Azoff about it. And then, of course, Irving, got it ready. But by that time, Dad wasn't able to.
Wow. That tour would have been a monster tour. Think about it.
Yeah.
Every Van Halen fan would pay whatever amount of money, because you're seeing Van Hagar, you're seeing Van Halen, obviously you're seeing, even Gary Cherone.
Even Gary Cherone.
You think Gary Cherone's like, you got to be kidding me. Why would you even say that? Here's what I mean? That would have been pretty cool. And Michael Anthony, which I think would be awesome to see Michael Anthony up there on stage with those guys again.
Yeah. And that, you'd hope everybody would be cool and realize what a great moment that is, what a legacy to be able to do something like that. It's too bad they couldn't.
I wish they could have pulled that off before Eddie passed. I would imagine that would have been a pretty incredible thing. And how crazy would it have been that it would have been Wolfgang, of all people, that spearheaded that entire thing.
Yeah. Sometimes that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes.
Come on, Dad.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes your kid, can spit a little bit of logic and understand. And you can hear it from your kid sometimes. If anybody else tried to tell Eddie, maybe it would be like, you're just trying to make cash.
He's like, Gary Cherone's been asking for this for how long?
Wolfgang also told Howard that Eddie was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer in 2017 and only given 6 months to live. But Eddie went and got experimental treatments in Germany, and Wolfgang says those treatments that he got did indeed add years to his life.
He got this crazy procedure called a gamma knife radiation procedure, and he was okay. But as time went on, it just kept stacking up and stacking up. 2017 was kind of the start of it all. At the end of 2017, he was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. And the doctors were like, you have 6 weeks. And then he went to Germany, overseas, and whatever they do over there. It's amazing, because I got 3 more years with them. That's kind of important to let people know that, that was real, and we were so excited about it, all of us.
That is amazing, because you hear sometimes stories where people go and they just get bamboozled. With I think it was
about Man on the Moon with Andy Kaufman. There's just an insane scene of him trying to deal with some kind of ulterior way to handle his cancer, and it was just a big scam.
Yeah. Well,
that's crazy. I mean,
it worked
in different countries. Different things aren't really haven't maybe made their way here to the States.
Yeah. And it worked. I don't know if any of those procedures are now being used here.
Got 3 more years with them.
Yeah, and I mean that's unbelievable when you're given 6 months. And lung cancer is serious business. You just don't expect anybody once they get that. That's like, okay, they're not going to come back from that. And he did 3 more years. Wolfie also addressed the rumors of him taking over for his father in Van Halen.
I'm not going to replace him. I've spent my life making sure I'm not like him and I'm my own person. You can't have Van Halen without Eddie Van Halen. So, in my opinion, outside of maybe a tribute show at some point down the line and, archival releases further down the line, it's done. I don't have a dad anymore. And I'm coming to terms with that, and I'm trying to figure out how to deal with that. So I think the fans can try and come to terms with and figure out how to deal with the fact that we're not going to have Van Halen anymore. The music is going to live on forever, but you can't continue without Eddie Van Halen.
It's an interesting statement, because that's what people have gone back and forth when we lose people in bands, and it really is up to the band.
Right. Well, I just love that part. It's like, because that there's some fans that, come on, man. He's like, you guys lost your favorite guitarist. I lost my father. I mean, can we pump the brakes on these talks about a reunion? Like, this is bigger than just, hearing your favorite Van Halen songs.
I hope that directly he hasn't heard any of these requests, because that is just so insensitive.
Well, some guy on Twitter was giving him a hard time.
Oh, unbelievable.
And even called him like a talentless hack, leeching off his dad's name. And how about Dweezil Zappa just jumped in and just like slammed that guy down? Like, shut up, troll.
Yeah, that's the thing. Dude, seriously.
So he even said, I'm sorry you're hearing the worst from, this is Dweezil Zappa saying this, I'm sorry you're hearing the worst from some people. And Dweezil, obviously, his dad was Frank Zappa. It won't be always that way. Your love for your dad speaks volumes and always will. Your own music will speak for itself, and you won't have to explain anything to anyone. The Van Halen name is in good hands, everyone. Respect.
All right, here's what I would like to say. It's a new phenomenon that I've noticed in the things that I love, that I'm on Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff. And a few other people have made this notification, and I wonder if this is true. It seems like that there's always a trollish comment ready to go.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm now starting to suspect, what other people are suspecting, that these folks really don't care. They just know they're going to say something that's going to be evil and upsetting, and that's all they care about. They don't even care about Van Halen, and therefore making fun of Wolfie has nothing to do with whether or not he's probably never even heard of Wolfgang stuff.
It's just to get attention. I mean, I see that on TMZ. If you want to have a day where your brain hurts, go and read the comments on any TMZ article that's about someone dying. It's a game of one-upmanship. Who could say the most crass, awful thing about that celebrity? And it's just... And then you realize rather quickly, you don't even give two craps. Like, to you, this is just an opportunity to get likes or engagement with somebody, positive or negative.
So this is what people are doing now. They don't, because I'm seeing this on my Star Trek forums where, there are just posts where you sit there and you go, how are you, what? This, and then eventually it's like, you're just doing this because you want to piss us off. You're not even,
right.
You don't even, you know enough to say the right things, but you don't care. And finally somebody started calling some folks out going, you can't be this clueless. You're just trying to piss people off. And eventually you're starting to see through these people. And I'm thinking so do we believe that anybody's really this heartless? As opposed to, they're just trying to piss people off. It has nothing to do with being heartless, like they really believe their position. It's just they know this is inflammatory, and since you don't have to see anybody behind your keyboard, you get to be a douche.
Well, they just don't give an F about whoever it is, so they don't feel like any remorse for being a jokester about it.
It's, to me, the death of social media, because at that point, I stopped taking it seriously. It's like, no more do I believe any of the comments, because I really believe, Steve, I believe there are people that are hired to do this.
Hired by who?
Well, I'm not going to mention any names, but again, if
Mark Zuckerberg?
Well, think about it.
What if it's Zuckerberg that's the troll?
Dude.
What is he doing in his free time?
Well, here's the thing. You may notice this, but I notice it. But right now, after watching the Social Dilemma, so there are 500 comments on a particular thing I'm following. Mm-hmm. They show me one, and it's always the troll. I go check the rest of the comments, and probably 90% of the comments, people are just like, oh my God, I think this is fantastic. What a wonderful world. What a beautiful thing. But the only one I ever get shown when I just scroll down is the one from the troll.
But I think that's more of that one is getting the most traction from everybody and some kind of reaction, so that's probably why it gets bumped up.
Did you watch the Social Dilemma?
Yeah, I did watch the Social Dilemma.
It's not, if you go to the same thing, I don't think you see the same one that I see. I mean, that was what the Social Dilemma said. They specifically know what I respond to.
Right, so you like miserable life.
Well, in other words, if I responded to a troll statement and said, hey man, that's not cool.
No, I know, I've watched the Social Dilemma, I've seen it.
So that's what I'm saying. So you're
right. I highly doubt people are being paid to be trolls. I think people are just trolls.
Really? You don't think that somebody from a big network, like, and I'm not going to mention names because I don't want to get in trouble, but if in fact based on what we saw in the Social Dilemma, that clicking on things that we are attracted to are important, and therefore you don't think those folks will go, let's keep BJ engaged by getting creative people that know how to piss him off by writing inflammatory statements. You don't think somebody could be doing that on the sly for money?
I don't, but I wouldn't be shocked if it was.
Oh, I'm totally believing that.
I think there's just enough people that just love the attention of being trolls. But that doesn't mean that there might be somebody also in there that's specifically being told by like not an intern, but an employee of whatever company, like, hey, get people going, spark the fire a little bit. But I think there's probably way more people not getting a paycheck for being ass hats than the person that is being that way.
Yeah, I either way, it's just like, why pay attention anymore? I mean, if I don't know what they could do about it. I mean, it's the Wild Wild West, but I think people are just going to not pay attention anymore because they're going to know it's fake, or at least people that don't even care, they just want to piss you off. And at that point, I disregard it.
See, the minute I see someone that's being negative, my first thought is just miserable F. Why do I even care? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why do I care about that person's opinion? They're not my friend. They're not somebody I know. They're not somebody I respect. They're not somebody I look up to. So their opinion should really mean nothing to me.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. And unfortunately, a lot of us are addicted to this stuff. And so we see it every day and it hits us, especially if we have therapeutic issues. It's a beating. It's just so sad to me because there was a time where you would go, I wouldn't say anything like that to Wolfgang. The guy just lost his dad. Mm-hmm. Like, you would just let him grieve in peace and you would know not to be that way. And yet here we are. Now,
but it's such a small minority. You're always going to have that couple of idiots out there. I think that the overwhelming majority of people probably feel awful for him and have nothing but love for him, but they're not going to waste their time and their day to write him. You know what I mean? Because everyone's got life. They got things that,
Well, yeah.
It's the miserable person that has nothing better to do that's going to really kind of pop out, just rise up from everything else because they're the one that has the free time to be a miserable F.
Well, that's the problem, Steve, because if in fact there's an algorithm that only shows you those things, its perception is reality in life. I mean, it's what I see a lot of older people, they just watch the news, they just read the clickbait. They don't get to see everything. All they're shown is the negative because that's what gets responses. So you're right, Steve. If the majority is actually cool.
It'd be like a guy sharing, an article from his friend that shared it. It was just a picture of a giant man hog.
Awesome.
Well, that was actually funny. That was very, very funny. I think you guys got a kick out of that.
Yeah, you fell for the clickbait.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh gosh, man. I'm just trying to have fun. Okay, let's talk about more depressing stuff.
Well, all right. How about this? How would you like to be a millionaire? You might, if you want to be a millionaire, you might want to start a Twitch stream. I'll tell you all about this at 8:17 on The Rock.
BJ and Migs, mornings on The Rock, 99.9 KISW.
Spend less time in the laundry room and more time doing the things you love. Introducing the Samsung Smart Top Load Laundry Pair, now available at Lowe's. The washer's large capacity means you can fit more in every load. Plus, its super speed setting washes a full load in only 28 minutes. Shop the smart washer that will streamline laundry day, backed by Lowe's Price Promise. Based on using super speed on a normal cycle with an 8-pound load, terms apply. See Lowe's.com/price promise for details. U.S. only.
That's the ease at which you get information. You're always connected and informed. No waiting. So if you're living with diabetes and still using old tech and finger sticks to read your blood sugar, what are you waiting for? US Med carries continuous glucose monitors, which provide real-time readings of blood glucose levels and accepts Medicare and over 800 private insurers. Call 1-888-US-MED65 today. That's 1-888-US-MED65 today. And manage your diabetes as easy as...
We all remember that one professor, the one everyone on campus had to take no matter what subject they taught because how much fun their class was. What if we told you there was a streaming service that had all those professors? One Day University has every must-have professor from the best colleges all across the country. One Day University, the most fun talks from the most fun professors. Available live and on demand. No homework, just the most fun you'll have while learning. Get a special offer at onedayu.com/odyssey.
99.9 KISW, The Rock of Seattle. Okay, This is when you realize, man, people make money doing this. This is when you know you're like done. You're like you don't even know how to figure technology out. Because there's the world's highest paid Twitch streamers. They just released that.
Which for a lot of people is already a very confusing sentence.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And what the F is this Twitch? And how are they being paid?
And a lot of it does involve video games, which, of course, is how really Twitch made its name, was a lot of video gamers were streaming on there. You can do other stuff on Twitch now, but for the most part, the people that are making big money still those video gamers.
Although I heard like a lot of the video game streamers are not very happy with Twitch or with the video game companies because they're playing the games and doing their thing. But if the audio of the video game or video is being shown, Twitch is now having to shut them down. No different than like playing music. Like there's copyrights to it.
Yeah.
So it's just like a giant like cluster F because it was the Wild West for the longest time. But now Twitch is popular and it's an actual form of media that they have to protect their ass. Kind of like what YouTube at one point, like you could do whatever the F you wanted. Now you can't.
And it's really interesting because you would argue with some of these video game companies like, well, weren't you getting free advertising?
That's the argument that some people have. But that's a tough one because, you know, some people felt, hey, if we're sharing your music, isn't that free advertising? And you're like, well, you know, you're also causing us to lose money. So it's like, how much money are we making from you to also how much money are we losing from you?
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a Canadian XQC, and XQC has pocketed nearly $2 million this year on Twitch.
What?
Yeah, and then Nick
Are they
Merckx.
selling drugs through there? What's like? How are they making that money?
Yeah, Nick Merckx.
XQC, there he is.
Yeah, how about Nick Merckx? Don't forget, Nick Merckx is making about $1.7 million.
I don't even know who Nick Merckx is.
And is it eBay? How do we say that from Barcelona, Vicky? Vicky, it's IBAI. Any idea? EB. All right.
Because I is said like E. Yes.
Okay, so he's from Barcelona, or she's from Barcelona. I don't know. $1.37 million. And rounding out the top five was Obda Block. All right.
Life goes on.
It's Oda Block. All right. At $1.3 million.
Dude, XQC is 25 years old. Could you imagine, like, if...
What about Tim the Tat Man? He's making $1.2 million.
Oh, my gosh. I am so out of the loop. Imagine being their parents and, like, you probably gave them a hard time for the longest amount of time about playing video games. What are you going to do with your life? And now he's like, I make $2 million a year playing video games on Twitch.
And XQC
Kiss my ass, Mom and Dad.
XQC looks a little bit like an anime rock star.
Yeah, a couple of his pictures got that pink hair.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So there we go. That's $2 million.
That would be a person that would like walk by in front of us. I have no idea who they are, but like there would be a large number of people losing their minds, like the YouTube personalities.
Totally.
Yeah, and especially like so like somebody who's like, will be like, so what is it? The QVC? How much are they making?
That's amazing, man. $2 million. I mean, even if you do that for a few years, you're good. Because I mean, I'd imagine the shelf life isn't forever in doing something like that. But you have a couple of good years of being this famous Twitch streamer, you should be set for life.
That's the thing. You know, it's like the MTV generation. Like, how long is a Twitch streamer going to be relevant?
I'd like to find out. If someone could pay me $2 million a year to be a Twitch streamer, I'll let you guys know.
I got to be thinking the shelf life's 5 years. First of all, you know, you start degrading as far as your abilities to be able to play. I just know that in general. It just happens as you get older. You're not going to be as good as you were because the body just doesn't want to function like it used to. And then there's relevance, like, you know, the new QK, what's it, XQC? The new
XQC.
The new XQC is going to come along, and they're going to be doing stuff that you're probably not even aware of or could do as well as them because, you know, you're getting older, and then they're the new crew.
Yeah, that's like one of my buddies. He is a part of a group called Optic, and he goes by Diesel, and he's been doing it for a lot of years. I think over 5 at this point because I've known him for a long time. But essentially, it's kind of like the fun streams, like not like super serious. And even him and some of the older crew from that group have like an old men of Optic that they are like, well, we're going to Twitch because we're just the old dudes playing,
like the over 40s league.
He's not. I don't even think he might be 30.
The over 30s league.
Yeah, so it's just like wow.
It's like football. I mean, the average career is like 3 years. I mean, so I got to be thinking, you know, your relevance, he's probably lucky that he's somewhat relevant after 5 years because I got to be thinking, you know, the XQCs of the world are making him look old. You know,
I love that this guy, the XQC guy's got like some issues. Like he's been suspended in his games before because he has like just violated the abusive chat policy.
There we go.
Another time, like I guess he reported a player for refusing to switch off a hero even after repeatedly dying. Like, it's so funny that no matter what world you're in, there are going to be people that are going to be getting suspended for whatever it is in their esports.
So he's a bit of a bad boy too. So he's probably got that lore about him.
Look out, man! He's trouble.
So he's a bit of a rebel, and so that probably adds to his lore.
Just a few months ago, he was banned for 24 hours from Twitch because he was watching explicit content of two gorillas performing intercourse.
Oh, and he put that on Twitch?
It just says he was watching it.
Yeah, probably.
So maybe he showed it as well?
Yeah, because, you can watch it. What's so bad about watching that? That's all.
Unless the audio's going. I don't know.
Well, if it's on Twitch, it's another thing. If he's showing it on Twitch, yes. But here's Twitch's problem. If this dude is making $2 million through Twitch, how much are they making that they can't get rid of him forever? That's a lot of money.
He was banned for 3 days earlier this year for showing nudity in an adult-themed game based on Connect 4.
Okay. Getting banned for, I hate when they use that word. He was suspended because ban means you don't get to come back.
Well, there's a lifetime ban and then there's a ban. So, the ban would mean that it's not lifetime if you don't say lifetime.
See, I always hated that when people said there's a lifetime ban. A ban is you're done in my brain. But either way, they want him.
This Twitch stuff is crazy, man.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I'm just reading more about the stuff. He's got, first off, over 35,000 subscribers, and he regularly streams chess.
Oh.
Like, the game chess.
Pretty smart
he's
now.
Playing that, and, people are just going nuts about that.
Well, it's all Queen's Gambit, dude. This guy is ahead of his time because everyone is loving that Netflix show, and look at him, Mr. Chess Guy.
And one person brought a good point. A lot of these people aren't necessarily watching these guys or girls because they're the best at the game. It's because of the personality. They're entertainers in this new medium. So exactly. For someone like him, he doesn't even have to be number one. He just has to watch two gorillas bang, and all of a sudden, he's got 4 million followers on Twitch or whatever it is.
Well, Steve, according to him, it was less than a second of the gorilla action. But
well, that's all you need, right?
Apparently.
Well, it did start that way, though, Rev. Didn't Twitch start with basically really good players?
I bet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But now you're right. Just like anything else, eventually, somebody comes along and does it a little differently, and then all of a sudden they become the new mode of entertainment. Like, oh, this person's a better Twitch entertainer. And then you got some of the old school. What is it about entertaining and gorillas? What about the game and being good at it? It's like
doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Well, there are people I don't even play really that are just marginal video game players. I know in the world of wrestling, Twitch has become a big medium. A lot of people are on there. In fact, to the point where there's a wrestler for the WWE by the name of Zelina Vega. And ladies and gentlemen, if you look her up, you'll thank me. But she just got let go by the WWE because they've been cracking down on their wrestlers doing third-party ways of making income. They're like, hey, if we don't get a cut out of it, you can't do it. So hosting things on Twitch or having OnlyFans or having cameos, they're really cracking down on that, and it's really pissing off a lot of the wrestlers. But she put her foot down and said, I'm not getting rid of my Twitch or my OnlyFans. And a lot of people are like, why wouldn't you get rid of them? You're going to lose your job at the WWE. And they made an example out of her, and they just let her go 2 days ago or 3 days ago. And then word just came out that she makes more money from her Twitch stream than she did from the WWE. So she's just like, why would I get rid of this?
And why would I give you a piece of that action?
That's part of it, too.
Boy, that's embarrassing for the WWE to find out that, she was making more money doing that other stuff, dude. So you firing her didn't really mean much.
I don't know if it might be embarrassing or it might be wow, that's just a statement of how much money you can make in a world of Twitch, you know? That's just nuts.
It's also the new way people are doing business. I think companies have got to find a way to not look like a-holes because, them wanting a piece of everything. I understand
it's
why.
A bad look.
Yeah.
A lot of people are are arguing for unionization of wrestling because of that, to the point where even Andrew Yang, the guy that ran for president, he's gone public about how because he's a big wrestling fan as well, and he follows me on Twitter, which is sweet.
Oh, that's wow. Right off the bat, he's legitimate.
But
now.
He's big on wrestlers being compensated properly, not being taken advantage of because of that. And this was just another example of Big E, one of the wrestlers in the WWE, he was making hundreds of thousands of dollars on Cameo, and they're like, "Yo, we want a cut of that."
And it's like, what do you mean you want a cut of that?
If you're going to use your name, which we technically gave you, you're a personality for us, and you're making money off of the success that we've given you, we want to cut, which is, I think it's a backwards way of thinking. Let them make their money. The wrestling, it's a shelf life isn't forever.
Yes, and it also promotes wrestling too.
Agreed.
Yeah, you're right, Steve. It's a very backwards way of thinking, and unfortunately, a lot of old people are in charge of those places.
Vince McMahon's very young.
Oh, I forgot about him. And they're not making the adjustment. That is the problem with capitalism today. Is a lot of these companies are not making the adjustment and realizing that you can't come off like that anymore. You used to be able to 20, 30, 40 years ago. Yeah, you used to be that guy and you couldn't fight the system. But now you're looking really bad if you have that way of thinking.
So it's like if you got, those guys are crazy. You got to look up Ninja, who's a gamer. Apparently, he even has like stuff for sale at Target. That's how popular he is.
Wow, yeah. That's insane.
He's a huge name.
Is he on Twitch?
He's everywhere.
Yeah, that was one. I think he started on Twitch. I don't know if necessarily is still doing that or if he's gone to Facebook gaming.
I know that he was really popular amongst young kids because my brother had dyed his hair blue and he was a substitute teacher for a while. And all the little kids are like, "Are you Ninja? Are you Ninja?" Because they were losing their minds. But apparently he was also on The Masked Singer.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, someone says they saw him on The Masked Singer, this ninja guy.
Well, that's how popular he is. Of course, I don't even know who he is.
Yeah.
Just goes to show you.
Yeah, looks like he's still doing Twitch.
He looks like that XTC guy.
Yeah.
With purple hair.
XQC.
That guy, too.
With all the hair.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, man. I mean, it's... These guys are doing it. It's the new way of making things happen, and you got to keep up if you're a business. You've got to figure out a way not to look like a bunch of jackalopes. Because I mean, these guys will win. They will always win. And what, that woman's name from wrestling,
Zelina Vega.
Yeah, Zelina's going to win. I mean, because her generation and all of the people that love her they're probably going to just go F you WWE.
And now that that's out there, they're probably going to embrace her even more. She's probably going to get either a gig at Impact Wrestling or AEW if she wants, because she was doing some good stuff. Like she was a very popular character there, but they decided to make an example out of her. I don't know if you've seen, just so you have a better idea of what she looks like.
Oh, dude, she is hot.
Yeah, they needed to get rid of her. Boy,
she. Her OnlyFans right
here
now.
She was.
Man, I was going to subscribe to her OnlyFans.
I might.
Yeah, here she is going out there and being an entrepreneurial genius and also a very attractive woman. Yeah, you're right, WWE. You better let her go.
Yeah.
Honestly, don't get me started. I have too many conversations with old school thinkers like this, and it frustrates the hell out of me.
Someone says Ninja cleared $30 million because he switched to Mixer, and then Mixer got bought out, so his contract got bought out. Now he's back on Twitch.
That's right. Yeah, Mixer was a thing that Microsoft. Mixer was a streaming service like Twitch that got bought out by Facebook.
Yes,
and
I remember
so
that.
Now it's Facebook Gaming.
Yeah,
and it looks like he went back to Twitch for that.
So I
get it on my Zune?
They bought out his contract, which means the guy got paid to now go compete against them.
Yeah.
That is just insane to me. Yeah, I'm telling you. A lot of industries, if you want to stay relevant, you have got to see how business is being done. And so many industries are not figuring that out. And boy, the WWE, I'm surprised because I thought they usually were pretty good at making the adjustment.
Well, they're probably going to have to
at
some point. And there's an argument though, like, hey, wrestlers signed these contracts, or if they didn't want to do it, which is a very good point. It's just like I think at some point though, the negative backlash is going to get to where they're going to have to figure out a way to make it so that they don't look like they're just completely taking advantage of these quote unquote independent contractors.
And let's be honest, these contracts are not in the favor of the wrestlers when they're starting out because they were the barrier of entry. So you had to sign the contract if you wanted any kind of professional career.
If you wanted to do this for a living and make the most amount of money getting to do it, you sign with the WWE, and unfortunately you also take some of the bad parts of that contract with it, which in a perfect world, obviously, and we're not in the perfect world, but it would be nice for them to get to the point where you look out for the best interest of that person as well. So if things don't work out with us, at least you found a way to make income, and you're going to be okay outside of the WWE.
Yeah, and this is why when people throw that contract talk at me, it's like, you know what, you are ignorant, or you're one of those capitalists that like taking advantage of people, and you use loopholes to do so because it's in the world of television. How many of those stars, had to sign 7-year deals and got screwed? So once they had an opportunity, like, the Big Bang Theory people are like, hey, you want us to go 8 years? You are going to pay through the nose because you pretty much effed us for 7 years of this contract, making us sign for a well below wage thing for the success that we're having, because how else could I get on TV? Got to sign a 7-year deal in order to get this sitcom. Then the sitcom blows up and they make tons of money, but they're still paying these folks the same, which is really not that great compared to what, the profits being made. So, these contracts are not always fair. Usually if a big business makes you sign a contract, I'm telling you, they are not going to get taken advantage of. You are. Yesterday, Steve, he did get this one wrong. Nice.
In which West Coast city was Bruce Lee born?
Renton.
No.
Renton.
West Coast city. Tacoma.
No.
Seattle?
No. Even though Bruce Lee lies here, I did not realize he wasn't from here. The correct answer is San Francisco. Yep. You want a shot at beating Steve? You got it. 206-421-ROCK. We're playing Beat Migs. We'll do that at 8:47 on The Rock.
Today's podcast was brought to you by Travis Gagne, bankruptcy attorney. He's here right now and has agreed to answer more of your questions about bankruptcy. Here's another question from a listener. I'm getting my wages garnished. Can bankruptcy help with that?
Absolutely. One of the big reasons people file bankruptcy is because they have a judgment or a lawsuit against them, or their wages are getting garnished, and so they can't pay their other regular ongoing bills. People sometimes think that you can't file bankruptcy once they have a judgment against them or once a garnishment has started, and that's not true. Filing bankruptcy will immediately stop any garnishment that you have going, except for child support, and stop your creditors from continuing on with garnishments of your bank account, your wages, and in most cases will discharge that liability through the bankruptcy process. And we can file a bankruptcy case for you usually the day you come in.
Thanks, Travis. If you have more questions about bankruptcy, you can reach out to Travis anytime at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com. Thanks for listening.
Spend less time in the laundry room and more time doing the things you love. Introducing the Samsung Smart Top Load Laundry Pair, now available at Lowe's. The washer's large capacity means you can fit more in every load. Plus, its super speed setting washes a full load in only 28 minutes. Shop the smart washer that will streamline laundry day, backed by Lowe's Price Promise. Based on using super speed on a normal cycle with an 8-pound load. Terms apply. See Lowe's.com/price promise for details. U.S. only.
That's the ease at which you get information. You're always connected and informed. So if you're diabetic and still using old technology and finger pricks, what are you waiting for? U.S. Med carries the highest quality continuous glucose monitors, which provide real-time readings of blood glucose levels. U.S. Med is an approved provider for Medicare and over 500 private insurers. Call 1-888-US-MED-17 today. That's 1-888-US-MED-17 today. And manage your diabetes as easy as